An HMO can have perfect paperwork, approved licenses, and flawless architectural blueprints, yet still be a death trap the moment you step inside. To understand how local authorities regulate houses in multiple occupation, we must map the dual-gate enforcement matrix. The first gate is a theoretical assessment, governed strictly by Part 2 of the Housing Act 2004. But paper is static, and physical structures degrade. The second gate is a reactive, physical assessment of active hazards and the landlord's daily operational competence in the field. Here, enforcement relies on a different legal toolkit: the Housing Health and Safety Rating System, the Fire Safety Order 2005, and the HMO management regulations. True HMO compliance requires mastering both domains. Passing the statutory desk tests is useless without locking into dynamic hazard control on the ground. The evaluation begins at the council desk. Before a property opens to tenants, authorities evaluate a new HMO application for its legal standing and theoretical capacity. The mechanics of this application are set out in Section 63 of the Housing Act 2004, which mandates a specific format and fee. Crucially, Section 63 requires the applicant to formally notify all relevant persons that an application has been submitted. Mapping these stakeholders, such as mortgagees and freeholders, prevents bad actors from using a frontman to secure a license and hide the actual controllers of the property. Once the application is submitted, Section 64 sets the legal criteria for the final determination, branching the evaluation into two distinct prongs: property suitability under Section 65 and personnel suitability under Section 66. Local authorities do not have subjective leeway here. The law compels them to either approve or refuse the license based strictly on these two rigid criteria. Gate 1 acts as an unforgiving legal filter. It is designed to intercept and reject unqualified operators before they are granted the legal right to collect rent. To pass the property suitability test under Section 65, physical dimensions must meet strict statutory limits, like the minimum 6.51 square meters for a single bedroom. These Schedule 4 constraints prevent dangerous overcrowding, forcing authorities to evaluate the capacity of shared facilities. The number of sinks, cooking appliances, and toilets must mathematically scale to match the intended maximum number of occupants. The second prong shifts focus to the people. Section 66 dictates the fit and proper test. While this checks for criminal history, councils are specifically looking for previous breaches of housing law or failures to follow approved landlord codes of practice. Recent modifications under the Renters' Rights Act expand the net of who must be evaluated on Schedule 1 of the Housing Act 2004. Liability and regulatory scrutiny now flow upward directly to the superior landlord. These dimensional rules and background checks establish a documented chain of liability. They are designed to ensure that ultimate owners cannot evade accountability by hiding behind layered management structures. Once the license is granted, the perspective shifts from the two-dimensional blueprint to the three-dimensional reality of an active tenancy. The environmental health officer's toolkit changes from statutory, desk-bound adjudication to active hazard spotting. This physical evaluation relies heavily on the Housing Health and Safety Rating System, established under Part 1 of the Housing Act 2004. During an unannounced field audit, inspectors evaluate specific environmental factors. They look for active damp, systemic ventilation failures, and poor thermal efficiency. These environmental standards are echoed in the Homes Fitness for Human Habitation Act 2018. While the 2018 Act empowers tenants to take civil action over unfitness, environmental health officers enforce those exact same prescribed hazards municipally, logging them as HHSRS Category 1 and Category 2 defects. Physical decay is a highly dynamic process. A property that easily passed the Section 65 desk test can fail an HHSRS field audit just months later if the operator neglects routine maintenance. The highest stakes element of any field audit is the integrity of the exit pathways. This is governed by Article 14 of the Regulatory Reform Fire Safety Order 2005. Inspectors run physical tests to ensure fire doors close automatically and are never locked from the inside in a way that traps a tenant. Emergency routes must remain completely unobstructed and require adequate illumination to function safely during a power failure. Moving beyond structural fire safety, field officers also enforce the HMO management regulations of 2006 and 2007, which target daily operational competence. These include strict mandates under Regulation 4 to maintain safety measures, and Regulations 7 and 8 requiring upkeep of common parts, fixtures, and fittings. A broken handrail on a staircase or a failing waste disposal facility are direct violations of these rules. These regulations impose strict liability on property managers. Failing to fix a broken banister is an immediate criminal breach, regardless of how flawless the property's original paperwork was. The desk and the field are not isolated systems. They form a closed liability loop. An ignored physical failure in the field serves as indisputable evidence of a housing law contravention. This violation feeds directly backward, destroying the fit and proper status that the landlord relied on to pass through Gate 1. Failing routine management checks triggers severe consequences, resulting in immediate license revocation or massive rent repayment orders. Thorough planning and meticulous background checks get an HMO licensed, but only continuous, rigorous adherence to physical safety and management regulations will keep it open.